And here we are yet again for another lesson. This time, taking things even one step further than what we did in the last lesson. Last lesson, what we did was actually created a guest book system. This time what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to create a stat tracker, a statistic tracker, if you will. Basically, we're going to monitor when a person comes into your site, and we're going to record that person's IP address. We're going to record what page they're viewing, and basically what time it is. And we're going to do this for every page they view so that we can then turn around and on our side we can have a little results page that will go in there and it'll break all this information down into something useful. So basically we could say, okay, how many times have all these pages been viewed? So in other words, I could quickly see which page is most popular, which is least popular. I can also go in there and I could look at a particular person by their IP address, and I can see what path they took, where they came in at, and how long they spent on each page, basically by the timestamp that's been recorded. So it's some pretty good stuff here. We're going to make, 2 or 3 mock pages, I think, and then we'll go ahead and we're going to show you how we can efficiently tie this in quickly to any web page on your site. And so at the very end, we'll just quickly tie it into the guest book as well. And let's see, anything else that we need to add about that? Well, yeah, I guess I could go ahead and say something about if you have a very large site with a tremendous amount of traffic, then you may want to go in there and actually create a stat cruncher, if you will. And it's something that we're not going to get into in this particular lesson, but a cruncher just goes in there and it takes and adds all the records together and puts all those numbers into a table that basically is not going to have hundreds of thousands of records in there. So
have a number that goes to 100,000.
Do what now?
Just have instead of having hundreds of thousands of records, have a single number that goes up to 100,000.
Absolutely, and we can regurgitate that out of the table a whole lot faster than having to go through hundreds of thousands of records. But anyways, this again is designed for beginners. So if you've got a site with where you're receiving millions of page views, you probably already have a nice statistic tracker in place. But this allows us to kind of stretch our wings out a little bit here. We're not going to focus so much on HTML code as we did in the last lesson. This time around, we're going to be focusing more on straight PHP. So with that, let me go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Logan.
Okay, again, the first thing we'll need to do is create a table to store this data. More specifically, we're going to create a table that holds what page they were on, what their IP was, and what time it was when they hit the page. So I'll open up the MySQL monitor one more time. Switch over. Yeah,
by the way, the reason we keep starting out with a blue screen like this and opening up the MySQL monitor over and over again is so that in case any of you guys just decided that some of the other lessons were a little bit too beginner and you jump straight into one of the more advanced ones, it's a good starting point, I guess you could say. So here he is right now. He's creating another table into the BuzzDB.
And, of course, using the BuzzDB first. So specify what DB we're in. Database, and we'll create a new table, and this one called tracker, and it will have a field called page, which is a var char 64. We'll store the IP, also a var char, this one length of 15, and we'll store the time that they hit it, or a date, auto, just like in the last lesson, and int unsigned. I could have gone on to a new line so it didn't wrap, but this is a little bit easier. So at the end of that, so create the tracker table, and there we go. We have a tracker table.
So now we have our table.
So that's pretty much it for what we need to do in the MySQL monitor. Go back and create a new page. The first page we'll be creating is the actual tracker itself, as in the page that will write a record to the database that this page, saying that the page has been viewed. So right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and create, we're going to need to establish a connection to the MySQL server, same as in past scripts. So I'll just grab, say, the guest book with the counter, grab those first 3 lines where we're connecting to this, where we're loading the config script and connecting to the server, and also selecting what database we're going to be using. So I'll go ahead and grab those 3 lines real quick, and let's see. So the first thing that it's actually going to do is immediately upon loading, it's going to record what page it's on and what the user's IP is and what the time is. So we need to go ahead and figure out what those variables are going to be. So first, we're going to do $this page, this underscore page. This is going to hold the name of the page or script that they're on right now. And as we saw before in the guest book, we used $_ server, so a predefined array. One of those elements in that array is PHP self. So as in, what's the name of this script that we're on right now? Store that in $this page. Then we'll get $IP, and that is also stored in the $_server array, predefined array, and that is called remote adder. RE. Okay. And then finally we have date auto equals time, just like before when we were getting what the current time is. So use the time function to return the current time in seconds into $date auto. So now we need to go ahead and put a query together. So $query equals, we're going to be doing an insert into that tracker table, and we're going to be inserting into the fields page, IP, and date. Let's see, date auto. And into those fields we will be putting the values, $, and again these the first two are a char, so you'll have to use quotes, and since we're already inside double quotes, we use single quotes for the actual SQL command or SQL syntax. And we'll say $, this page, so whatever page they're on right now, and we'll put $IP, again, $IP inside of single quotes. And finally, even though at this point single quotes aren't required, but we're going to use them anyway, just in case the field was somehow blank, it wouldn't create an error. So finally, we'll put $date auto. So store the timestamp, or the current timestamp. So we got the query put together. Now we need to actually go ahead and run it. MySQL query, and we'll give it that $query. So run the query, and it's using $connection. So with that will actually store this information in the database. But this tracker script is also going to double as a counter. And so it's actually, at this point, going to go in there and check what the current number of records are. Because the way this is going to work is this tracker is going to be put on individual pages. So it needs to go to the database and find any page that equals itself, or equals the page that it's on right now, basically equals that $server PHP self, and then count how many records there are for the script that it's on, and return that number. And that's how it'll act as a counter. Let me go ahead and set up the query for that. So query equals select count. I'll explain this count thing in just a minute. Count star from tracker where. So now we're not just grabbing every record. We're only grabbing where the page is equal to $this page, and this page having an underscore being inside single quotes. So alright, select count. Instead of, we could do a select star from tracker where the page is the page we're on, and that would return, say, 20, 30 records, and then we could use the function MySQL num rows to return the number. But that's unnecessary data that's being transferred. It's actually giving us back the data from that query, and we don't need to do that. We only need a number, the number of how many records match the current page. So we're selecting the count star from, so basically counting the number of pages that match this page. So we're saying where page equals the page we're on. So we'll go ahead and run that page, or run that query, MySQL query. Again, well, actually, make this a little bit faster. Same line, copy, paste. So with that, and okay, so we're running a query to get, this time we're running the query to get data back. We need to display this number somehow to the user. So we have to go ahead and use, put these results in a variable somewhere. I'll put them in $result equals MySQL query. And then, let's see, we need to actually store, so now we've got all the results of that. But we still need to run a MySQL result in order to grab the exact result we're looking for. So I'll go ahead and do $views equals MySQL result, $result, and in this case it's only going to return one row in a sense, so we can assume that that's going to be